Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I would like to talk about brushes. So I know this is a pretty common thing when someone's just starting out with makeup. I'm sorry, I just signature. Okay. So when you're first starting out with makeup, it's a pretty common thing to not really know which brushes to use, which brushes are for what. So I'm just kind of hopping on and I'm going to talk about a few of my favorite brushes that I use daily, pretty much in every single video that I have up. So I'm going to start with face brushes. My first one that I'm going to talk about, so a couple of these, quick disclaimer, a couple of these are from like collections, so they don't sell individually, and some of these collections are out of stock for whatever reason, but you can always go on the website and select a brush that literally has the same shape and has the same bristles, so like synthetic or natural hair, and it'll be the same thing. So just because it comes out from a collection doesn't mean that you have to buy the whole collection just to get that one brush. This one did come from a collection. I think it was like Rose Gold collection. This is from Morphe. And let me just show you guys. This is just a smaller, more tapered brush. And I mainly use this to set my under eyes. So any smaller areas, so like my nose, my under eyes, just any smaller areas, this is what I use that brush for. Now this is a bigger brush. This is from Morphe, and I believe you can get this individually. It's Morphe E41 brush. And it's really big and fluffy, and I use this to set powder all over the face. I also sometimes use it if I put a little bit too much blush or bronzer, and I just kind of use it to blend it out a little bit and just kind of make it look a little better. So this is one of my other favorite brushes. Another brush that came from the same Morphe Rose Gold collection is this one, and it's, there you go. It's just kind of like angled down, and I have a couple of them, like they're literally the same shape. Both these come from a collection, so. But I use this one for bronzer, so I can it's angled down, so you can kind of get it right under your cheek and sculpt it out. The reason why I have another one is I use this one for my cream bronzers. So if I want to do like an underneath cream bronzer, I go ahead and get this underneath my cheek, and then I put my foundation over it. So I have two different ones, one's for powder and one's for cream. The next one, actually I have two that I use for highlighter. This one is a Wet n Wild brush. I think this came from like a unicorn collection, I think. But it was super cheap, and it's one of my favorites. And here's the shape of this one. There you go. Again, if you can find anything that's around this shape, it'll work. All of the brushes except for this one, the angled one that I talked about, all those are synthetic. This one is natural bristle. And I do find that natural bristles, they don't pick up as much product, so, it's really kind of hard to overdo it with the product with natural bristles. So that's why when I do my eyeshadow, I switch between natural and synthetic depending on the look that I'm going for and how much pigment I want. So with this, when I just take a little bit of the bronzer, I just basically build it up to the intensity that I want. This one is also for highlight, and it's also natural. Just really long tapered brush. It's from Morphe M510, and I just kind of use it to intensify my highlight. So there's that one. This one, also from Morphe, it's R10. I use this one for blush, as you can see. the contents left over, but this one I use for blush. Couple of suggestions, like websites that I can suggest for you guys to go to when you're looking for brushes. BH Cosmetics has really good brushes, and they also do sell singles and sets, and even sets are super cheap and they have sales all the time. If you're looking for another cheap brand, Morphe has some cheaper brushes. They do have some expensive ones, but you can always go to Morphe and get some of their sets, and they always have discount codes. Literally, like, every beauty guru has a code with them, so just pick one and use their name. They'll take money off. Let me see. If you want some drugstore ones, I love Real Techniques, which this brush here is a Real Techniques brush. It's a concealer brush, and I use it all the time to apply concealer for under my eyes and to apply eyeshadow base as well. So it's just a pretty dense brush here, and I use it a lot. I actually have 2 of them, so that way I can always make sure that I have one clean. Real Techniques also has really good sponges, which I always use Real Techniques sponge to apply foundation. I also have Beauty Blender, but Beauty Blenders are a little bit more expensive than Real Techniques, but Real Techniques sponge is perfect. So moving on to eyeshadow brushes, and I'm kind of moving along quickly here because, you know, this is kind of a boring topic, but a lot of people do want to know what brushes they would want to use, or which brushes are good and what they're used for, things like that. So I did want to put that out there. I think the next video that I'm going to do is how to clean the brushes too, because maintaining and cleaning them is important. And if you don't clean them, or if you don't take care of them properly, your money is basically going to waste. So the first brush that I'm actually going to start talking about, my crease brushes. So I have a couple of different crease brushes. I have my natural bristle crease brush. Let me put this one right here. This is my Morphe brush. I think it came from like an eye collection that they have. And this is natural bristle. So when I'm just trying to kind of sketch out where I want everything to be, I take my above the crease color. And then since, again, this is a natural bristle brush, it doesn't pick up as much product. So I kind of go in there and kind of lightly sketch out how I want everything to look and where everything is going to go. My next one is a synthetic grease brush. It's a little smaller, so I can do a little bit more details with it. This is a Morphe E17 brush, and I don't have a code with them. But again, if you follow like a YouTuber that has like millions of subscribers, they probably do have a code with them. So just use that. I think most of the time it takes off like 10%. But this is synthetic bristle to clean it. So when I try to go a little bit more intensely with the color, I go in with this brush and then I just stamp it in there. For blending, I have 2 different brushes here. I have my Morphe M504 brush. It's a thicker synthetic brush. It's really fluffy, as you can see, and I just use this to blend everything out and make sure that everything is nice and blended and just kind of melts together. And then I also use an Anastasia Beverly Hills A6 brush. This guy was a little pricey, but definitely worth it. It's a little bit more dense, also synthetic bristles, and you can kind of go in a little harder and blend everything out a little bit more than what the fluffier brush can. This guy right here, it's a pretty small, tiny little brush that it's from Morphe M506 brush. I kind of use this to go in with a color, like when I'm trying to do a smoky eye or when I'm trying to blend out the bottom lash color. This is a great brush for that. And again, if I'm trying to do a smoky eye, it's good for Auto V to kind of get in there and get that color. I have Another tiny brush that I like to use, this is from, again, this is just a Morphe brush. Again, I think this came from like an eye collection, and I use this one a lot for my inner corner color and just like under the brow bone or brows for the color. That one is great. I also have the Morphe E36 brush. This one is really good for like any details that you want. For colors, or again, if you want to even use it for inner corner, you can do that too. But I love working with smaller brushes because it kind of gets me to get a little bit more detail in there. So I use an e.l.f. brush. This is a concealer brush, and it's just a tiny little failer. I think I bought it for $2. I think at like Walmart or Target, I don't remember, but it was $2, and I use it to cut out my crease. So just go ahead and carve out that eyeshadow, and it's tiny and perfect and lets me be a little bit more precise. And then I use Morphe M224 brush. You can use this brush several ways. I sometimes use it for eyeshadows, so if they're like a cream eyeshadow and I want to lay the color down, or if there's like glitter glue, anything that's like a little bit more creamier consistency, I guess. Oop, I dropped the brush. That's a brush that I kind of go for. Now if this is an e.l.f. blending brush, I don't really know how it's blending because it's flat. It's flat. If there's like just like a regular eyeshadow that I want on my lid, I use this brush to pack it on there. So these are all the brushes that I love using. They're my favorite, and again, you don't have to buy them from anyone specific. Because again, some of these, they come from bundles, which you can't get anymore. So just go and search for similar shape and bristles, and you'll be fine. Like I said, I'll be doing how to care for your brushes next. And again, that's really important hygiene-wise, and to make sure brushes last longer. So keep your eye on it for that video. And that is all. If you guys have any questions, comment them down below. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.